I was just like, please get away from me.
Slowly kisses passing by the river.
Hi, it's Olivia and welcome back to my channel. I just like to start off this video by saying thank you for all the support on my channel so far. I'm actually really enjoying the YouTube experience. Ooh. Anyways, for today's video, I'm going to do a story time. I have a pretty good story to tell, if I do say so myself. It's about the time I nearly got kidnapped. Just a little disclaimer, I'm not looking for sympathy or attention with this video. I don't think about it that much. Like, I'm not like traumatized from it or anything. You don't have to feel bad for me. Teehee. So let's cut right into the story time. Oh yeah, epic transition. So quirky. So I was 14 at the time, bear in mind, okay? Oh! So basically it all started off the night before. I had decided that I wanted a pair of ripped jeans because they were the cool thing to have. So I took this pair of jeans and I spent so long putting rips in them and like pulling out each thread so the rips would like look good. Insert picture here. That's what they looked like. Obviously they weren't that nice because I did it myself and they were low-waisted. No hate against low-waisted trousers, but they do not suit me. I will never wear them. No. And maybe this is why I never wear them. Trauma. I was so excited to wear them the next day to my drama class. So I woke up that morning, I put on my ripped jeans, my polka dot top, and I was ready to go. I was so excited. So my mom and dad would usually give me a lift to my acting, but they weren't able to that day for some reason. I can't remember exactly why. I had to get the bus anyway. So I walked to my bus stop, the bus arrived and I got on. As I was getting onto the bus and paying for my ticket, a man stood up from, the very back seat at the bottom of the bus. He started walking towards me. So I thought he was going to get off because he was coming towards the door. So I was like, oh, grand, I can just go to that seat back there. And there wasn't that many people on the bus. I just always liked that seat. I don't really like that seat anymore, but we'll get to why. I went back and I sat down on this seat at the back of the bus. When I sat down, I saw that this man had two friends sitting up at the front two seats. He was just going to talk to them. And I was like, oh God, like I'm after taking this man's seat. But then I was like, why is he not sitting with his friends? That's a bit weird because there was seats all around his friends. So he started coming back towards his seat and I stood up and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for taking your seat. I'll go get another one. And he was like, oh no, like it's fine. Oh my God, I remember this so well. He was like, get on your feet, lose your seat, am I right? And I was like, yeah. I was like, are you sure? Like, I can move if you want. Like, I took your seat. Like, you can have it back. He's like, oh, no, like, it's fine. Like, just sit down. And I was like, okay. So I sat back down and I put my earphones back in. Okay, so I think I should just describe what this man looked like. So he was quite overweight. Like, he was like a big man and had scars above his eyebrow and like down from his eye, like down to his cheek. And it kind of went into his mouth. So it made his mouth kind of smile like, I don't know if he was trying to cover up like a bad receding hairline. He had a tattoo like along his hairline on the other side of his scars and it said something. It was like words. I don't know what it was. When I sat down, he went up to his two friends and these two were two other men just sitting at the front of the bus. And I was like, it's a bit sus if you ask me. They're all sitting apart, like it's a bit weird. And he said something to them. I wasn't really paying that much attention. So I thought he was going back up to sit with his friends. But then he came back and sat down beside me. And this whole bus was empty apart from me, his two friends, and him. And I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. Like, he's sitting right beside me. So then he turned to me. So I took my earphones out and I was like, and he was like, oh, you look really nice. Like, I really like your outfit. And I was just like, like, bear in mind, this man was probably like 35, 40 probably, and I was 14. And I was like, oh yeah, thank you. And I started to put my earphones back in because I was like, oh my God, please don't keep talking to me. Because I was like, okay, I get it now, this guy's a weirdo. I put in my earphones and then he kind of was like, and like he kind of kept talking to me. So I was like, oh God, I don't want to be rude. So I took my earphones out and he was like, oh, like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, I'm just going to go meet my my brother and my dad for lunch. Because I wanted to make it seem like there was men waiting for me at the bus stop. He was like, oh, like, are they waiting for you at the bus stop? And I was like, Yes, they are. They are waiting for me. They're there right now. I was going to my acting class by myself. He was just like, oh yeah, okay. And he's like, oh, like, where are you from? I was like, I don't know. I said to this man, I don't know. He was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I just moved in. I can't remember the name of it. And he was like, do you live near where you got on? I was like, oh, not really, no. I live right beside where I got on. I was like, no, like, it's a good walk, yeah. I just can't remember the name of it, you know? He was like, oh, like, I actually just got on the stop before you that you got on, so I probably live pretty close to you. And I was like, yeah, probably. Please, get away from me. So he was like, oh, I'm actually getting off the bus a few stops before you. And I was like, cool. And he was like, you should come with me. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not able to. Like I said, you know, I'm going to meet my dad and my brother. They're waiting for me. Wouldn't want to let them down. And he was like, you can just go with them another day. Like, you should come with me. And I was like, no, like, I really can't. Like, I've been waiting so long to do this. He was like, oh, okay, well then I'll come with you. He said it in a kind of way like, I know you're lying to me. Like, I know they're not waiting for you. I was like, oh, we only have a reservation for 3, you know? And he was like, no, like, I'll come with you. Sure, there'll be room. Like, it's pretty early. And I was like, yeah. No, oh, my dad wouldn't like that, sorry. So I just decided then, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go up and like stand in the place where the wheelchairs go or the buggies. So I stood up and he looked at me and he was like, kind of like, oh, like, where are you going? Like, you're nowhere near your stop. So he put his feet up on the seat in front of me. So I was trapped in. I could not get past him. So I was like, I'm just gonna go up there so I can like open the window and like get some air. And he was like, oh, you can just open that window. And I was like, oh yeah. And I couldn't get it open. You know how hard the windows in the bus are to open sometimes? It was so hard. So he reached across me and his man boobs were like going in my face. And he was like, oh yeah, I'll open it. And I was like, oh, please get away from me. He sat back down. He was like, you should just come with me. Like, come on. And I was like, oh no, like, I'm not able to. I was like kind of trying to be like a bit more stern then. He was like, oh, like, come on. And he kind of raised his voice a bit. It wasn't really in an aggressive way, but it was in a kind of like, oh, like, come on, like, you're being annoying, kind of. I just kind of stopped answering him then. And I was actually proper scared. And his 2 friends kept looking back. Kind of like they knew what was happening and like they were trying to get me off this bus. And I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna get kidnapped. So we started getting close to where he said he was getting off. I was like, oh, like I hope he gets off. Like I hope he gets off. And he just kept kind of pressuring me. Like, oh, come on with me, we'll have a good time. Like, you don't need to go for lunch. But then I think the bus driver noticed on the cameras or something. He was like, here, is everything okay at the back of the bus there? And he was like, oh yeah, it's fine, go on. And he was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah, it's grand. And I didn't say anything. And he was like, oh, like, you all right, love? And I was like, yeah. Like, I said it in a way, I was like trying to make it seem like, no, I am not okay, but I don't want to say, no, actually, this guy is actually trying to kidnap me, help me. Because I didn't want him to get annoyed. Then his 2 friends turned around and they were like, they nodded their head, like, kind of like, oh, like, this isn't gonna work, kind of. And I was like, he kind of scooched away then, because when he had opened the window, he scooched really close to me. Our 2 thighs were touching, which was really uncomfortable. Kind of like started looking out the other window, just kind of like annoyed. And I was like, and I put my earphones in. I was like, tunes. It came up to the stop that he said he was getting off at. And him and his 2 friends stood up. And he turned around, he was kind of like, and there was a big white van that has the doors that open at the back, parked right beside the bus stop. And they got off the bus, walked to the van and got into it. And we started to drive past. And I looked out the window at him getting into the van. And he just kind of looked out the window at me and he was like, just like annoyed. And I was like, oh my god, that was so scary. And I was like, were they doing that on purpose? I could have got off with him and he could have just thrown me in the back of that van and I would have been gone. Scary. I decided in that moment, I was like, okay, I don't want to sit in this seat anymore. I'm never sitting at the back of this bus ever again. So I went and stood in the wheelchair and like buggy section because I wanted to be near the driver because I was like, okay, this driver's looking out for me. I was like, I doubt someone trying to kidnap me for the second time, but you never know. I looked hella good that day, so I'm going. The bus driver opened his window. He's like, oh, like, come here. And I was like, oh God, now he's gonna try kidnap me. He was like, oh, like, was that man making you uncomfortable? And I was like, oh yeah, like, he kind of was, to be honest. He kept asking me to go with him, and he kept asking to come with me. I was like, I'm 14. That's kind of sus, don't you think? He's like, hell yeah, that's kind of sus, my guy. And he was, if you want, you can put in a complaint, and, like, they can find him. And I was just like, that's when I started overthinking it. And I was like, oh no, like, it's fine. Like, he didn't actually do anything. Like, he just kind of made me feel uncomfortable, but he didn't actually do anything, you know? I probably should have reported it, but I didn't because I was just like, no. So yeah, that is my story. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe to see more of my videos and comment down below what you'd like to see me do next. And turn on post notifications so you can see every time I upload a brand new video.